Hello, welcome to Graceless Crimes. I'm Grace, and welcome to my channel where we talk about true crimes of passion, panic, and pure freaking foolishness. Now, is this the most ridiculous thing I've ever read, heard, watched? Perhaps. Perhaps. I'll say that again in a year from now, but today, Before we get started, if you like true crime, if you like conspiracy theories, if you like listening to a yapper yap, click like, hit subscribe. We do this shit all day, every day, okay? Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my true crime bestie who has since passed away. I'm still trying to process that sentence is even applicable in my life. My auntie Evelyn, who loved true crime, who loved conspiracy theories, who loved politics. So I feel like I'm talking to her and you guys are along for the journey. I want to first compose myself, okay? I am not certain how to even begin this story, but you probably seen it on TikTok, okay? All over my TikTok, they're talking about this documentary, and it's called Unknown Number. It came out a couple of weeks ago. Now, first and foremost, it's full of twists and turns. It's a trash pit. It's a burning pile. Netflix left so much out, and I see why. Okay? So let's just jump right in. It's 2018 or so. We are in Beale City, Michigan. It's a very small town. There's one stoplight. There's 700 kids in this one building from K to 12. It is a tiny town, all right, for your perspective. We have these kids, Lauryn Licari and her boyfriend. His name is Owen McKinney. They are dating, young love, real cute. You know, she's blonde, you know, he's super athletic. They're both super athletic, actually. And that's kind of what draws them to each other. Now, during the panty, as we like to call it, they end up, you know, at that point, we're like dating for a couple of years and their parents are all friends. Now, backtrack a little bit. They're young. They are like 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. I mean, they are babies, okay? So the parents are friends. They're super nice to each other. They all hang out together, this, that, and the third. Something strange starts happening in October 2020. It's the panty. Things are opening up. So there's a girl here. Her name is Chloe Wilson, and she's having a Halloween party that's going to be like parents and kids invited. You know, they're doing the haunted house tours. They're doing all this cool stuff. So Owen and Chloe are close. Lauryn and Chloe are not. They don't hate each other, but they ain't friends like that. So Lauren's like, unless I'm explicitly invited, I'm not going. And I catch those vibes because I'm the same way. If I'm not explicitly invited, I don't want to be there. And you know what? I might not come even if you do invite me because you're weird. And that's fine. So Lauryn and Owen get this text in a group from an unknown number, right? And it's like, oh, Owen wants to break up with you. He doesn't like you. He hasn't liked you for a long time. And obviously he wants me. They're going on and on about how Owen's always touching her hair. I don't know what he told you, but he's coming to the Halloween party with me. Like, we're DTF. Now, these are kids. Okay, remember, they're like in the 7th or 8th grade. They're young. They're like 12. My frontal still is barely. She's still trying to get it together. Imagine being 11 or 12. Those are babies. Lauryn confronts Owen because they're all in the same chat, like on the side. And he's like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, that's crazy. So they go and ask Chloe, like, yo, who sent this? Because remember, it's Chloe's party. And she's like, I'll ask around, but I don't know what's going on. And so Owen's like, don't worry. Like, the text messages are going to stop. Let's just give it some time. Everybody's acting normal. Party happens. And then the text messages stop for a long time. For almost a year. It looks like 10 months. So they're like, okay, all right. It was just some asshole, whatever. 11 months go by. Boom. September 2021. Harassment starts again. Now, the second wave, if you can believe it, is even more aggressive. And it's like, oh, like, can't wait for the golden couple, because that's what people would call them, to like end. you guys are, not forever, and some of us don't want to hear it anymore. So they're like, all right, this is somebody at the school. This is somebody down at the school. And the girl's going on like, Owen loves me, and I'm always the girl he loves, and you're ugly, and just really mean. So we're bullying her now. So she's thinking like, it's not somebody I knew, because if it was somebody I knew, I'd have the number saved in my phone. But remember, they blocked it the first time. I think this person, and we later find out they did have like some sort of a app or some sort of a generator that was controlling and changing the number constantly. And so no matter what they did, they kept coming back. This lighting eats, by the way. This lighting eats. So the thing that starts to get Lauryn a little bit like, is somebody in our inner circle, is that they start calling her Lo. And that's her like nickname with her and her close friends, okay? She's like, nah, this is somebody who knows me. Like, they're calling me Lo. They've been around me. Something's funny. So, all right. They start to do the little investigation. They're trying to figure out like who's going on. At first, it was like 6 messages, 10 messages a day. It starts to get to a point where they're getting upwards of 50 messages a day. Lauryn and Owen is trying to see, like, when they get the message at school, like, who's on their phones, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to pinpoint, okay? They're friends, too, right? They've known each other since they were 12. Now they're 14. Like, they're friends, too. And, again, their families are intertwined. But they don't say anything to their parents yet. So they're just trying to figure out what is going on. Like, who is this? And somebody like even sent a text message to her like, oh, like, why are you wearing leggings? Like, nobody wants to see your anorexic ass. Like, just saying wild shit to her. They let it rock. Because as long as they're good, together, it was fine. But it starts to really wear on them. They're young. Life is hard enough, okay? And it's just like, now we have this like weird issue. Like, things were perfect, right? The parents had even been together since they were super young. I believe Owen's parents. So it's like, it wasn't far-fetched that they might have made it through a lifetime together, small town love story. This was really wearing down on them. So one day they get more texts. They're getting you're the ugliest person I've ever seen. And they're directed very much so at Lauryn still. Okay. So they start asking around, all right? There's people, that they have to start asking around. They start asking friends in the class, and the friends in the class are starting to kind of like even be like, what's going on? It's the gossip of their group, okay? Some weirdo is sending weird text messages. So they would start saying stuff to each other out loud to see who, like, okay, I'm going to say A over here, and I'm going to say B over here, and then see like what text message comes in, and that will narrow it down. Very smart, kids. I love your thinking. I love it. It's very when Kim Kardashian had her first baby or second baby, and she sent around a photo of like a different baby to different groups of people, and then the photos got leaked, and then she knew who to cut out of her life. It's one of my favorite how to catch a lion ass friend. I live for it. But anyway, so they're like getting closer and closer. And so there's a point when they're like, Lauryn's always there. She's the only commonality. So they actually flip the kids and start thinking it's her doing it to herself to get attention, which is wild, because that would have been already, as a 14-year-old, my 13th reason. I'm not even fucking kidding you. Like, I'm telling my friends to help me, and they're coming after me now. Like, what? No. So they're trying to figure out like what group of people it is, like what's going on. Because remember, they're in sports. There's all these different sports groups. It's a lot of different pods, and they just cannot narrow it down, except for Lauryn is always around. Finally, it gets to a point where Lauryn's had enough, and she goes and tells her father, okay? The last text message she gets is like, you're worthless, you mean nothing, like, you need to get an effing life. And I'll put it here because it's a lot. And she comes home from school. She tells her father, like, look, it's some BS at school going on. Somebody is texting me. They've been texting me for this long. I'm not having it. So he goes and tells, obviously, his wife, Kendra Licari, her mom. And they're like, just ignore it. Her mom's like, ignore it. You're obviously beautiful. Like, don't worry about it, whatever, whatever. But it's starting to make them crazy. So now they start calling her a skank, calling her ugly, like, just, again, monetization, I'm not going to say what, I'm just going to put the pictures up. Because the text messages are wild. They're wild. They would send me into a frenzy. Again, I'm thinking about how old she is and like my state of mind. Like, they would send me into, as a child, a tailspin. There's no way. Again, small town too. So it's just like, you don't know who to trust. You don't know if it's her, him, or her. On the other side, Owen's parents are taking his phone at night. So he's like, what the fuck? Like, now I'm getting in trouble for this. I'm losing my phone privileges. Like, this is just not fair. And the mom, his mom is going in. She's going through all the messages every night. I mean, they're coming in 100 messages at this point a day. And it's excessive. And it's craziness. So they go talk to Lauryn's parents, and they're like, look, we need to go down to the school, see if they can narrow down who it is, and at least get it to stop. Like, let's start there. It's been a year since the messages started, and the school opened some sort of investigation, okay? So they've got like the superintendent involved, they've got the principal involved. He's trying to figure everything out, and he's doing, I would say, in my opinion, I like his tactic as well. He's like looking at cameras to see like, okay, they got the text at 2 p.m. I mean, so I'm going to see who all's on their phones at 2 p.m. I mean, he's going in. But the problem with that is like, now he's asking other kids questions, and it's starting to spread around the school. So it's getting worse. Now, the teachers are appalled at the text messages too. Like, they're uncomfortable. Like, he said he was blushing at his grown ass, big ass age, the superintendent. So he's just like, okay, we're going to do our best. But like, what are you going to do? Like, go to the kids and like, what are you going to like go to a 12-year-old and be like, did you say like, I want to stick my, like, it's all, everybody is like grossed out by it. Like, even the adults are like, like, what's happening? Control your kids, right? But like, what are they going to do? Take the phones away from all the kids? The school's had enough. They don't know what to do. So now they call the sheriff. But initially, he's kind of like asking the parents, like, you know, trying to get to the bottom of it as well. Unfortunately, and I feel really bad because like, Lauryn went from being bullied by this random person, then to having her friends think it was her, then to having like the police think it was her. It's really kind of messed up. And what's interesting too is like, the person was sending text messages like, oh, like, you didn't even score this many points. Like, I scored this many points. So they're like watching every little thing she does. And so they're like, maybe it's one of the girls on the team because she said, I scored this many points. Like, whatever. I think it was like 12 points. So they're like, okay, maybe it's this girl, whoever scored 12 points. So they look at the scoreboard the night that was in question. And it's Chloe, the girl at the Halloween party. So they're like, okay, all right, that's 2 times your name came up, girl. So we're going to have to call you down to the office. But Chloe's dad is a police officer in town. So it's like, she's not going to get in trouble. Obviously, she didn't fuck with you from jump. They're not friends. She's super close to Owen. Like, it's all starting to come together. So I'm like, all right, documentary's over. They don't find out Chloe's crazy as hell. Like, whatever. Y'all, it wasn't even Chloe. Mind you, now Chloe's getting bullied. Now Chloe's getting investigated. Her parents aren't involved. Chloe even, at one point, her father goes, I don't care. Dump the phone. Lets them go through all this kid's personal text messages, which is mortifying. Like, mortifying. So now they're looking at all of these kids with a fine-tooth comb, okay? Next thing you know, the text messages get worse because now they're sending photos. They're putting pictures of like Lauryn's face and like blurring it out and like calling her a skank and calling her a hoe. And I mean, all the young, crazy teenage nonsense you can think of is literally happening right now. So it's getting to a point. Now, at this point, they have gone through everybody that they can go through. They have asked close friends, acquaintances, Now they're down asking Owen's cousin Adriana if she did it. Like, they don't know what to do because these apps that have these text message generating numbers are hard to grasp. And in order to get information on them, you need police involved so that you can get police reports so that you can subpoena the numbers, because you're breaking all of these like privacy laws, because unfortunately the person who's doing this still has rights. So you're like, great, now you got to go through all these channels, which is why it took so long. But at this point where they're now asking her cousin, or Owen's cousin, they've got like hundreds of pages of printed out text messages. We are in a full investigation at this point. And these poor kids are all, on this documentary crying, because when they go back to think about that time, it's high school. They're supposed to be having a good time. They're supposed to be all making friends. And this really kind of like broke whatever little groups that they had. It really broke those groups. And they all grew up together. Remember, the whole building is K through 12. The parents and the teachers that are there are alum of this high school, of this elementary school as well. So I feel really bad for the kids because they didn't deserve to be dragged into this, okay? It gets to a point where Owen and Lauryn are like, we need to break up. Owen, I think, is the one who initiates the breakup with Lauryn. They're hoping it stops. They're like, this is what this person wants. Let's just give them what they want. Take some time apart. See if the messages stop. So the messages don't stop when they break up. They get worse. All right. And it's to a point too where like Owen's mama goes to the police. This one hurt me too. Owen's mom goes to the police and she's crying. She's like, my child is saying that he wants to take himself off this earth. Like, we got to do something now. Like, I at this point, and she's down at the police station, like in a messy bun, no makeup on. She's upset. Okay. Cause I know she wants to give whoever the hell is doing this a 2-piece. It's one thing to be bullying my child, but you're terrorizing the whole community now. And now my son is saying that he doesn't want to be here anymore. We gotta call somebody before y'all gotta call somebody on me. Okay. So it's a lot to watch, and it's annoying because now you're in the middle of the documentary and you're like, who is doing this? Like, what's going on? So Owen and Lauryn have been broken up for some time, and he goes over to another town called Pinconning and meets this girl. They start dating. So now he's got another girlfriend, which you feel bad for Lauryn. I do feel bad for Lauryn in this. And they're chit-chatting. And one day the girlfriend texts Owen and she's like, hey, somebody texted my mom. Somebody texted his new girlfriend in another town's mama, saying some rah-rah as usual. Same like vernacular, same text formatting, everything like that. And basically threatening her. So it's just like, now he feels like he can't date nobody. He feels like he's going to put other people, like Lauryn got bullied. Now this girl's getting bullied. So he's just, I feel so bad for this kid because, again, like I always say, life is hard enough for people to make it harder. It's just getting to a point. I'm tired at this point. And my husband and I are watching the documentary and we're like, are we there yet? Because I'm done. I was fatigued. And that's halfway through the documentary. So they break up. Now Owen got no girlfriend twice. Lauryn's by herself. Nobody's talking to each other. It's really a mess. Owen's starting to become like more angry. His mother can see him withdrawing. As a parent, you're doing everything you can to make sure your kid makes it through to 18 so that they can be productive members of society. And so you do everything you can to avoid this. At this point, they're narrowing it down. The app is called Pinger, and they narrow it down to a Verizon number, an IP address. They're looking, and they're going through. They're trying to figure out like who all is what. It's 2 phone numbers. No, I'm sorry. It's 2 IP addresses. And they're trying to narrow the phone numbers down. So they're getting to it. Okay. We're going to find out who this is. so we can get their little nasty asses, ship them off to boarding school, get rid of this kid, okay? So the mother of Owen gives them every number in her phone. She just dumps it because she's like, I don't even care. People at this point, they don't care. So they're, you know, they do the contact dump. I can't even say it out loud because you know what? They do the contact dump. Are y'all ready for this? It's Kendra Licari, Lauryn's mama. When my husband and I were holding on to each other like, you ugly lint liquor. And that's what she looks like too. And I'll put her photo here. She looks like a lint liquor, okay? She's ugly. She's a mouth breather. She was all around those kids because she was coaching the basketball team and keeping score.
Lord have mercy.
This bitch. So they call Owen's mama first and they're like, it's Lauryn's mother. And she's like, it's not her. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Okay, it's been a year and a half since the text messages started. We have cracked the case, but even the police officer, it's so funny because, you know, you think police officers have seen it all. You smiling in everybody's face. You're around everybody's kids. This is so psychologically hostile that it makes you like shiver, right? Superintendent can't believe, nobody can believe it. Nobody can believe it. Because this person isn't just Lauryn's mother. She also is tasked with being a supervisor, right? And a person of trust to all the children in the town. Remember, it's one building. So she is the oh, hi, Miss. Everybody knows her. They're trying to build a case on her now because they've got to build the case so they can go and arrest her. You know how things work. Some of this stuff ain't no joke. And for y'all who think you can stalk people and text people and message people and call people, just know the first time the person tells you to stop and you go ahead and do it again, it becomes a motherfucking felony. Just know that. They go down to Lauryn's house to go talk to this ugly ass, mouth breathing ass, dry skin, wrinkly face lady. Okay? And they're like, give us your phone. Give us your computer. We're going to ask you once. Once we're going to ask you. Was it you, ho? And she immediately gives herself away. Well, it wasn't me in the beginning, but then I started doing it like after to catch the person who sent the first messages. Like, saying you didn't send the first messages doesn't make any of this better, you freaking weirdo. You are sick. You are sick, you lint liquor. So let's back up. Let's take a pause here. According to Kendra, aside from her being like the basketball coach, she had been working as like IT support and admin. And so she had done some side work or like consulting work with IT. Now, according to her husband, she had been at the job and then she quit. They had had some financial issues for the last couple of years while this was going on. So not only was poor Lauryn dealing with this BS and her boyfriend done left her and her friends ain't talking to her no more. I mean, just all aspects of life are falling up under this, just dropping from this little girl's feet. But also her parents are having financial issues. Kendra had been working as like human resources at Central Michigan University. And then she told her husband she started working at Ferris State University in Michigan, working as IT. Now, they talked to Lauryn's mother's cousin. They're super, super close. And she was like, honestly, I don't know if she was ever really working down at Ferris. She's always exaggerated the truth ever since we were kids. Even says in the documentary, she's like, if she was here right now, she would be dancing so that you guys could see her so she'd get attention. Very notable things. She lied a lot and she liked attention. So she was doing IT. Then she claimed that like it was better money at the fair state. The truth of the matter is she was fired from the position at Central Michigan. She did not quit. The new role at Ferris wasn't even as lucrative as she had claimed it to be. And she was put on a PIP, which is like a performance improvement plan, for spending excessive time doing unrelated work stuff. Like, so she was texting and making calls during work that were unrelated to work. Apparently, she ended up leaving that job, and so that's when the financial problems piled. And because she was the one, according to reports, according to the Cut article, she was the one that controlled everything in their house. So it was easier for her to hide it from her husband, okay? At this point, she goes ahead and tells her daughter. It's all on like body cam footage, and then they call the husband, and they're like, come down here right now. Immediately. And he comes down, and they're like, listen, like, you know, your wife, you know, because she had been fired from the job, and they're talking to him, and he's like, hold on, what did you say? You said it was my wife who was texting our daughter and harassing her and all her friends, and you also said she was fired from her job? And he's like, we have been going house to house. We had left this house to go to this house and get a bigger house and get a smaller house, and we've been having a lot of financial issues. What do you mean? So apparently Miss Girl told her husband, oh no, like the first house we sold it, and so the second house is a purchase, but it wasn't. Oh my God, this is so fucking crazy. She lost the first house because bill collectors came because they weren't paying utility and they weren't paying the insurance bills. And so when the first text messages arrived, they just moved because she said she sold the house. It was foreclosed on. It was foreclosed on. And they went into another house that she said she bought. No, she entered into a land contract, which is a way to buy a house if you have really, really bad credit, and you pay installments directly to the owner. So before the text messages even started, Miss Girl was unemployed, credit shot, lying to her husband. They ain't got no bread. He's working doubles down at I think he worked at a auto body dealership or an auto body mechanic of sorts. The way that white man busted in through that house, I lived for it. He was so mad, he called his wife's parents and said, come get her. Vin prend petit tout dans kala parce que les pas carré là. I said, oh, I'm calling him. Let's see how it feels. She's like, please don't call my parents. She turned into a child herself. She's like, no, like, it's fine. It's okay. Like, let's discuss this. He called her parents. And he said, you gotta leave. The thing too is like, as they're telling the husband, Sean, they're like, oh, you know, she ain't got no job. She was the one doing all this text messaging. Does she have any other devices? We took her phone and we took her computer. And he's like, she has other phones. What do you mean? So she was lying to the police. So they go inside. They're like, we will rip this house apart. Tell us where everything is right fucking now. So anyway, this poor man, I feel so fucking bad for him. He's so crushed. His little family is broken up. His poor baby girl has been hurting. He's been watching her decline educationally. He's been watching her decline socially. He's been watching her decline in her sports, you know, and all to know that the person who was sleeping next to you was a fucking enemy. As Cardi B has said, you could be sleeping next to somebody who don't fuck with you. Oh my God. That really, again, was hard to watch. So anyway, the documentary lets Kendra speak, which I don't know why, because nobody wants to hear from you, you ugly, chinless, nasty person. They let Kendra talk, and she talks about how it felt like she had a mask on and how she didn't do it in the beginning. It was for the reason of finding out who it was, who was sending text messages, but then, you know, it was just bullshit. It was just all fucking bullshit. All right. Let me just say that right now. You're a lying ass liar. You're fucking weird. Some of the theories that people have had, that I had as well, was like, did she hate her daughter, comma, and or obsessed with Owen? And I'm gonna say both. I think her daughter was everything she wanted to be. She was a very pretty blonde haired girl. She was very sweet, a little sweet little face. Her daughter was following in her footsteps as an athlete, but doing better than she did. Her daughter had friends. I just think that she was a mean spirited, one of these nasty moms who just doesn't fuck with their kid. They frame it too, and it's really interesting. They frame it as like almost a digital or a virtual form of Munchausen. So essentially they're saying that the more that she isolated her child with this, the more that her daughter would have come to her and been closer to her. Kendra claims that she had been assaulted as a young girl, and that as her daughter was getting older, she just wanted to protect her. But she protected her by like, I feel like you assaulted your daughter, right? You mentally assaulted her and assaulted her life. You assaulted her reputation. And most of all, she's really never going to trust anybody again. The person that she came out of betrayed her in the most horrific public way possible, and I do not know how you come back from that, because she really took years away from these kids' lives. This became the talk of the town. This consumed them all, and she felt like, oh, it removed her from her everyday life. Like, you weren't working, you had all this free time on your hands, and you needed money. Why not go do something to make you some damn money? What you did could have also pushed your daughter to have sex before she was ready. She kept saying, oh, you're not hooking up with him, and that's why he doesn't want you. You also could have pushed her or Owen or some of the other kids to harm themselves from this. Okay? Not to mention that you said that you were doing it to protect your daughter, but then once her and Owen broke up, why were you still keeping tabs on Owen? Why did you know that he was dating another girl? How did you get the other girl's mom's number? Like, there's a lot of other pieces that were unanswered that I don't appreciate Netflix leaving out. A lot of the kids are left with unanswered questions, And the thing about it is that when she got caught, she was like, well, people do illegal things all the time. I'm sure none of us are honest. Like, I'm sure we've all drove before. Like, we just have done things that are illegal, but we've never gotten caught. And so this is no different. Bitch, excuse me? You were felony cyberstalking your own daughter, her boyfriend's cousin got involved, her boyfriend's friends were involved, your husband, the town, the soup. Girl, everybody but the cats and dogs were terrorized, not only with your bad attitude and your weirdo behavior, but with your ugly face. Anyway, they're starting to call it cyber Munchausen. They said that it's a phenomenon that psychiatrists have been tracking for decades. There's a Dr. Mark Feldman, who's an associate professor of psychiatry at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, who specializes in Munchausen specifically, but he talks about a man who was claiming to be a Catholic monk in like an online support group. And the man actually started posting everything, like, he had cancer, it was fast progressing, and how he had, he couldn't find treatment. And all of these people were, offering sympathy, getting that attention that Munchausen's usually is wanting. And so somebody finally challenged him. They're like, yo, like, your story ain't adding up, girlfriend. And it turns out he was lying. So it's really interesting because they are connecting it to this, because Munchausen is a mental disorder. And clearly this woman has mental disorders, okay? Anyway, this all went through the whole town. All of the kids were, told about it. Owen said he was really upset. He ultimately ends up like hating Lauryn, which sucks, and actually is angry at her because it's like, this all started because of you, when I thought breaking up with you would make it stop. Chloe's parents talk about, how messed up it was that their daughter was pinned as this like mean girl. I really like the description of Chloe in the documentary too. They're like, she's not a bully. but she's not a nice person, which I like that description. Like, and so they start asking Owen, they're like, okay, come back, Owen. We have some more questions now. Was she funny with you? Like, was she trying to date you? Like, what's going on? And so Owen is like, actually, she was a little weird with me. She used to cut my food for me when I went over to the house. Ma'am, lady. They asked her, like, why would you send messages to tell your daughter to off herself? Why would you send messages about your daughter's appearance, her body, her hair? She keeps saying she was scared for her. She was not trying to hurt her. Basically, like, oh, my daughter was never going to hurt herself. I knew she could handle it. You're a nasty bitch. Lifetime actually did a movie, like, loosely based on it. Called Mommy Meanest. It's Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna, I love you. And I'll find a photo because I want to see how they dress her as this lady. Essentially, she was sentenced to between 19 months and 5 years in prison for 2 counts of stalking a minor because all the other charges were dropped because she pled guilty. It looks like she only did under the 19 months. And so she's going to be on parole until February 2026. She is not having contact with Lauryn until 2026. Lauryn has said she's not really certain if she wants to speak to her mother, and her father have since got it really, really close. Now Lauryn is going to go to college, thank God, and study criminology, which is so interesting because of this that's happened to her. But what's really interesting is that people don't really think that Lauryn and her father, Sean, didn't know. Basically, they think that Sean and Lauryn were involved in some way. I don't really think that that's true because there's a point when they talk about how they had a storage unit and they weren't paying the bills and he lost everything that was important to him, and like that broke me too. That was the worst one of everything. Was like, I'm thinking about baby photos or the little baby booties or little things your daughter drew or just these little things that to you won't be sentimental in value monetarily, but like bring you joy. You know what I mean? Like that man lost everything, even his stupid little whatever for when he was 10, 11, whatever. Like this lady she just wanted to just be a fucking weirdo and just do whatever she wanted. Ultimately, it cost her reputation, her daughter's reputation, her husband's reputation, and her relationship with her child. Like there's no really other way to describe it. And I don't think she's really remorseful. I think she thinks it's normal. She frames it that her husband knew about the financial mess. She frames it like that's why, like, you're making him look guilty with all this stuff too. Like, I don't like that. I mean, the town has since moved on. Tammy, who is Chloe Wilson's mom, even dressed up as a scarecrow in a prison jumpsuit with a mask of Kendra's mugshot at their latest Halloween party. It's not funny. Nothing about this shit is funny. And Lauryn, I know you say in the documentary that you still love your mother more than anything, but I want you to know, baby girl, I hope you find true love in college and real female friendships that feed you, okay? Find women who are really, truly like soul sisters, and hopefully you realize that this relationship with your mom is just not everybody can be, a friend to their child. I'm so sorry that this is your first foray into bullying. Is from the person that is in your life. And I don't care what nice messages she's writing telling you that, that you're the light of her life and all this crap. She needs help. And this is nasty work. But if y'all want to read more about it, there's an article on The Cut. The Netflix documentary is up. I mean, it's going to be up for a while. And I really hope to see Lauryn, flourish and thrive in her life. And I hope Sean can, I don't know, find love again. I don't know. I have nothing left. I'm drained. I'm fatigué. I'm sure it's not going to be the last we see of this attention grabbing, licking ass, ugly lady. But nonetheless, I'm done here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I will see you in the next one.